Hi, this is Rainbow Harmony, here to help you find balance and peace to live a more colorful life. And this is a pick a card reading with my Wildwood deck. So for those of you guys who have been following my channel for a while, you know that the Wildwood deck is my OG. I call it my Old Faithful because it is a deck that I have been using since the very start of my tarot journey. In fact, this was my first deck. So, funny story about this deck actually is that my husband picked it up at a little bookstore in Los Angeles when we used to live there. And I worked from home a lot at the time because I was freelancing with my fashion styling work and my makeup artist work, and he had like a full-time job, so he was gone a lot. So even though this was technically his deck, he just like left me home alone with it, and eventually curiosity kind of got the cat and I ended up just drawing cards from it. He'd come home and see me just like with all these cards spread all over the ground. He's like, "What are you doing with my deck?" And I'm like, you know, just playing around with it. And before long, I had bonded with this deck so hard. Like, it taught me so many amazing lessons about life, and I just really enjoy this deck because I feel like it opened me up to tarot in a way that was very, very logical. Like, when you first start getting into spiritual work, at least me personally, I was coming from a lot of like social conditioning, and I was a little bit skeptical. And so I really just loved how down to earth and grounded these messages were. And the book that comes with this deck is so beautiful and so on point and just so magical, and I've learned so much from it. It helped me through a very difficult time in my life, and so there's all of this beautiful healing energy in it. And this is the deck, like when I'm doing personal readings, a lot of times you'll see me start with this deck just to get a good idea of like what's going down here. And then if I'm just like really need some clarity, or I need to sum things up, where I need a clarifier, I will go to this deck. So this deck is real, it's on point, it will tell you the real stuff, sometimes the harsh truth, but in a very loving way. Like, it has a way of just like really pulling up the roots of what's on your mind or like what's bothering you. So anyways, I could go on and on about how much I love this deck, but the point is, today we are going to do a reading just from the Wildwood deck. I had some comments that was saying like you guys missed some of my older readings, like my OG readings from when I first started the channel, when all I pretty much had was the Wildwood deck, and I was just pulling from this. So I thought today we could just do this reading together, and you can choose an object. I actually have some flowers here for you guys to choose from. A couple different options, and I will just freestyle right here, right now, draw you some cards from the Wildwood deck to get you some messages, okay? So you have 3 options today to choose your reading. You can choose number 1, the fuchsia flowers, number 2, the daisies, or number 3, the pink flowers. Let's see if I can get these all into frame. There we go. So number 1, number 2, or number 3. So we've got 1, 2, or 3. Once you have chosen, you can head down below to the description or to the comments where the timestamps will be posted, and we will get your reading from the Wildwood deck. So for those of you guys who choose number 1, let's go ahead and get your reading. Just gonna shuffle the cards and see what comes out for you today. I keep getting the message to just keep shuffling. Wants to come out. What's going on? What's going on? All right. So the first card that really flashed at me, we've got your cards here. The first card that really flashed at me was this card, the 3 of Arrows. So this is a card that talks about just feeling kind of backstabbed, feeling frustrated, feeling like attacked by people or feeling attacked by something. Sometimes I get this message for someone who's going through like a big trauma or a big grieving process, or somebody who is recovering from like a toxic relationship. Sometimes it's just someone who's going through like a deep heartbreak or perhaps a breakup or something like that, just feeling a little bit down in the dumps. This is the jealousy card, so sometimes I also think about maybe a person who feels like when they put their true selves out there and they shine, they're being ridiculed by people, or they're being people are jealous of them, or they feel like they just can't shine and like be their true selves. So seeing this card makes me think that, yeah, here's the frustration card next to it. Very frustrated because you want to move forward in life. I keep getting this feeling like you want to move forward, you want to expand, you want things to change, but there's like this big blockage, and you're in a transition right now. I feel like this is the message that you need to hear. You need to be reminded that sometimes in life we are in transitions. And I love this image here on the Wildwood deck from this boat, because this is such a perfect way to convey transition. You're neither here nor there. You have come from a certain place, you're not there anymore, but you haven't arrived yet. So you're in the middle of this healing process, or this transformation process, or this grieving process, and you're very close. You're almost there. You're almost there. You're almost to the goal. You're almost to the end of this cycle. This is definitely a message about a cycle here, but you're just not there yet. So maybe you're feeling a little restless, frustrated. I have a hard time seeing this card and not thinking about those of you guys right now who are in lockdown and who are feeling like stressed out and feeling like a little bit bored and maybe depressed. Maybe some of you guys who've been dealing with the loss of a family member perhaps, or who have actually gotten sick yourself and are in recovery. Like, I've definitely, like, I see that energy in this. And so there's this feeling of not feeling like yourself, not knowing what to do. So this lockdown could be kind of increasing that energy. But I also see people who are on the path of finding themselves, like in the middle of a spiritual awakening, like going through the dark night of the soul process. So in spiritual awakening, you go through this process called the dark night of the soul, where when you first go through spiritual awakening, you start waking up to all the infinite possibilities in this life. You start waking up to maybe the person that you were when you first came here, or like the person you were as a child, and you start getting reacquainted with your desires and your gifts and your talents, and the world just feels so magical. But then you go through the dark night of the soul because you have to shed the past. You have to shed who you were or who you thought you were supposed to be in order to really become authentic and to be able to harness your truth and move forward. So you're going through that dark night of the soul process, many of you who are watching, and it's kind of a mystery because you still don't 100% know where you're going yet. It's like you have this blank canvas, and it's exciting because it's a fresh start, it's a fresh journey. It's just you don't know exactly what you want to make of it. Like, you don't have your paints yet. You're just staring at the blank canvas thinking like there's nothing, everything's empty, I don't know who I am anymore. Maybe some of you guys have had to distance yourself from people, places, things, habits that no longer serve you. So there's all this space, but you don't know exactly what to fill it with yet. So this is the Links card here, is about embracing the mystery of life, like getting grounded. That's something that's so important on the spiritual awakening journey, because all of a sudden you're becoming open to all of these different possibilities, and there's all these like worries and doubts and fears going through your head. Maybe you're seeing angel numbers everywhere, like 222, 444, 1111. Like, it's exciting because you feel like a strong connection with yourself or with the universe, or maybe you're meditating and connecting with spirit guides or ancestors, or maybe you're just exploring all of these new concepts, and it can be intense. Like, it can take you to a place to where your energy doesn't feel grounded. Yes, we are spiritual beings, but we are also here in these human bodies. So it's really important to be grounded, to be human, to be earthly. This is something I learned doing the tarot. Remember in the beginning, in the intro, I was talking about how I would be home alone all day with these tarot cards, and I just feel like going crazy, like pulling cards all the time. Well, I've learned, like, sometimes when you are in that space for too long, it can cause a little bit of anxiety or nervous energy in your body. If you're in your head too much, if you're in your mind too much, if you're in that thought space or even that spiritual space too much, you can become a little like confused or wonky, or it can mess with your energy levels. So grounding is really important. This also applies to some of you guys who are feeling like that restless cabin fever energy of being like basically locked inside for, you know, weeks and weeks or days and days, the needing to get grounded. So this is basically a message telling you to be loyal to yourself, to listen to yourself, to focus on this grounding energy. So what are some grounding activities that you can participate in? Well, the first is deep breathing. So you can do this with me right now. Let's just all take a deep breath. It feels good. I have to really, really work on deep breathing personally. It's not something that comes naturally to me. Some people are just deep breathers and it's so natural. I'm go, go, go kind of person. I have to work on the deep breathing. So let's try that again. Connecting with the breath does help pull you into this moment, does help to relieve energies, does help to ground you. Another one would just be movement, to get up, turn on some music and dance, or try a little bit of yoga. I'm sure you hear that all the time from readers, do yoga, meditate. But for real, you guys, when I started doing yoga, my energy aligned, things changed. It actually had an effect on my physical appearance, not just like losing weight, but like there's something called that yoga glow. Like everybody I know who does yoga consistently, they glow, they shine. There's like this inner beauty. I don't know what that's about, but there's definitely a yoga glow. Try it. It's a great beauty secret. 10 minutes of yoga a day, 5 minutes, doesn't matter. Just get on the ground and stretch a little bit. That's been difficult for me too during this time, is just like having the patience to just sit down and stretch, or sit down and do my yoga practice. But if you can just do a little bit every day, it'll really help you. And what I love is that yoga can be personalized to everybody. Obviously, you have to trust your doctor when it comes to any specific recommendations or limitations that you might be dealing with in your body at present. But sometimes yoga really is just sitting down, taking deep breaths, maybe reaching your arms up, a little bit of stretching. There's different types of yoga, like there's Kundalini yoga. So if you need something that's really gentle and more based off of breath work and energy clearing, I find Kundalini yoga to be really, really gentle. I used to have problems with my hips and my back and some injuries. And during that time, I was able to do Kundalini yoga. So yes, Kundalini yoga. One of my favorite yoga channels here on YouTube is Yoga with Adrienne. I love Yoga with Adrienne. Like if I'm not feeling like it, I'll just turn on one of her videos, and before I know it, I'm on the floor relaxing and I finish the practice and I feel so much better. So a lot of you guys who are watching this honestly just might be a message to tell you to move your body or get back to your exercise routine. Just stretch a little bit, okay? So it took all these cards to tell you this, but it's like you're not exactly where you want to be yet. That's okay. You need to relax. You need to stretch. You need to get your body moving a little bit and get grounded. Other things that can help you get grounded is eating like a healthy meal, taking part in like the sensual creation of making your own food slowly and diligently and intentionally. Anything that you do in your body slowly with intention is going to help ground you. So you can ground yourself through everyday activities like making your bed, instead of being in your thoughts or listening to music or whatever, like be in that moment making your bed. You can do conscious actions. Like for me, a way for me to get in my body is when I do skincare routines. You guys know I love makeup and skincare, and I do this every morning and every night. I have like a skincare routine, and I just try to be present in my body. I don't let my mind wander off. I pull myself into the moment. The sense of the skincare I'm using, the feelings and touching my skin and looking in the mirror and saying positive things to myself or thinking positive, helpful thoughts about my appearance and about my body really, really help me. Affirming to myself and being in that moment and like, yes, like I'm taking care of myself and I'm worthy of that. It's nice for me. Also, going outside can help, but maybe some of you guys can't, but lately I have been going out on my front lawn or on my porch, and I know that's a luxury for some people where, you know, in apartment complexes and maybe you can't, you're in the city and there's nothing like that, but gardening or potting a plant or something could also help at this time. So overall, you're in the process of releasing some heavier energies. I keep getting this message for you about just waiting, like a wait and see approach. There's really nothing you can do right now to control the situation, to push it forward faster, to make anything happen right now. And that can be such a frustrating place to be, but it's basically just a transition. It's that full moon energy of like surrender and allow your manifestations or what you've asked for to come to you. So in the meantime, you can be focusing on grounding, presence, because when we're waiting for something, when we're facing the unknown, which the Lynx card has a lot to do with facing the unknown, our imagination can run wild. I think one of the biggest fears most people have is the fear of the unknown. Like when we don't 100% know what's coming next or what's gonna happen, that's when our imagination can run wild and create all these crazy hypothetical scenarios, and we just end up getting anxiety and being worried. I think that's a beautiful thing because our mind and our brain does that to keep us safe. But half the time, most of the time, honestly, the things that we worry about never really materialize like that. I was telling myself last night as I was falling asleep when I was worrying about something so random, I had to like pull myself back in my body and tell myself, this is random. This isn't even gonna happen. This is like, what are you doing? And in that moment, I sat in love for myself, like, oh, you know, thank you, brain. Thank you for trying to keep me safe, but I trust that I am safe. One thing I'll leave you guys with. If you're dealing with worry, doubt, fear, the fear of the unknown, the blank canvas, all that stuff, leaving something difficult behind, moving forward to something new and maybe a little unexpected, is to trust your future self. By pulling yourself in the present, by taking good care of your body, by pulling yourself more into the moment. In that practice, you can learn to trust yourself, to take good care of you. If you can take the best care of you that you possibly can in this moment, and you continue to practice that, just taking good care of you as much as you can, every moment. You don't have to go over the top, it's not about perfection. You start building trust with yourself so that no matter what happens in the future, you will be able to handle it. You'll be able to care for yourself and be there for yourself no matter what you go through. So that way, when you start worrying about things or worrying about the future, you can tell yourself this mantra: I trust my future self to take good care of me. No matter what happens, no matter what I end up going through, I trust myself. I trust my future self. That's what helps me get to sleep at night. It's pretty much the only thing. I think I've opened up to you guys that I deal with depression, anxiety, and PTSD or CPTSD. So it's all the time in my mind, especially when I'm going to sleep. Flashbacks, worries about things, the past haunting me. Oh my gosh, sorry, I'm looking outside and my cute neighbors, she's cutting her husband's hair. It's like this really cute old couple, because I'm in Croatia right now. I'm in the country and I can kind of see in their backyard, and it's so cute. She's cutting his hair and she's like holding up a mirror and he's looking at it and he's like, yes, slay. Sorry. Did I also mention I have ADHD? Anyways, so basically it's all the time for me. This kind of like, that's why I've gotten so good at this stuff. It's why I teach it. It's why I'm passionate about it, because I know what you guys are going through. We got this war going on in our mind all the time, and the biggest mantra that has helped me is I trust my future self. So the way that you can develop good trust in your future self is by taking good care of yourself now and in this moment. Sometimes now in this moment, there's like really not a lot you can do about the future. All you can do is just take care of now. All you can do is just take care of this moment, take care of yourself. So if you're just stuck in home, you can't go anywhere, you're on lockdown, well, you can try to eat a little healthier. You can stretch if your body's hurting. You can rest if your body's telling you to rest. You can, if you're feeling sad and bored, you can find something to entertain yourself and do something that will make your inner child have fun. Focusing right now on this moment is the most powerful thing that you can do to set up a really amazing future for yourself. One thing I also do is one thing a day for my future. I have goals written down. Anybody who's done manifests with me, we've got some goals, we've got some action steps, we've got a whole list we've made, and every day just one thing off the list. And don't be hard on yourself for the days you don't really feel like you accomplish anything. Just use those days to be present with yourself. That's gonna be the best gift you can give yourself. So the present, that's why they call it a gift. Because it's a present. All right, you guys, I hope that this message resonated with you, and I will see you next time. Peace out. So for those of you guys who choose number 2, let's see what your message is from my Wildwood deck. What's coming out for you? What do you need to know? Just gonna shuffle the cards. See what comes out. Anything could happen. Wow, okay, we're still going here. Hang on a second. Still going. Okay. Whoo! We have got a grip of cards here. I got like a whole, I don't know, I disappeared there for a second. I got a whole, let's go through this. A whole download on your situation. Okay, so the first message I got is that you want to break free. These are the first 3 cards that came out. You see this horse card, which is a message of travel, taking a leap of faith, movement forward, and a sign of freedom. Okay, so when I get the horse card, especially if I also see the fox card, I always think you're moving somewhere. Okay, so first thing I'm thinking about is physical move. You want to move somewhere, you want to move out, you want to get your freedom, you want to get your independence, or you want to move out of a constricting situation. And then I'm also seeing here this person that's going on their own path, leaving everything behind. I get this a lot for people who have come from maybe a toxic family or a situation where they just feel like this town I'm in, it doesn't resonate with me, these friends I have, this family, this like where I'm at right now, this job I'm in, like this is not me. Like I want to leave this behind. I aspire to something different. I know I'm on a different path. I want to take the road less traveled. So I get this card a lot for people who are healers, or people who are shamans, or people who are light workers, or people who are artists, or maybe people who want to be on an entrepreneur path. And then this is a card talking about how there's just so many opportunities out there for you. So for some of you guys, you might be having a difficult time narrowing down what opportunity it is that you want to choose or that you want to pursue. Like, you're not feeling stuck because you don't know what to do in life and you don't know what you're good at. It might be that you're just good at so many things and you're so artistic, you don't know what niche to start with, or you don't know what path to choose, or you could be stuck on the whole what if I choose the wrong path thing. So I see a lot of people who just decide not to choose, or they kind of hold back in life because they're afraid that they're going to waste their time choosing the wrong thing. Or if they do go after pursuing painting or pursuing fashion design or pursuing remodeling homes and interior decorating or whatever it is, they're worried that, oh, it's not going to make me money, it's not going to be a safe job, it's not going to be secure, I don't know how I'm going to support myself, and so they just like kind of hold back because of that. So does any of that sound like you? I remember what it was like before I started getting more on a path with my career and my purpose and how I spent my time in life. And there were so many things I loved. I loved dancing, I loved singing, I loved fashion, I loved makeup, I loved swimming, I loved teaching. Gosh, I could just go on and on. There were so many things, and I loved writing, and so I would try little things, and I would create little things, and I would try my hand, but my energy was just so scattered. And back then, I remember just being so frustrated and why can't I choose? Why can't I get on my path? Why am I still trying to figure out what I want to do and who I am when all my friends are getting college degrees and the house and the white picket fence? But now that I look back on all of that, I realized that that was a really necessary part of my journey and a very necessary part of my growth. If I hadn't taken the time to explore and to taste life and to try different things and to try this job and try that job and try collaborating with these people and try that and try music writing, then try fashion writing, and then try just all the different little things I tried. If I hadn't taken that time, I don't think I would be where I'm at now at all. I don't think I'd have the clarity that I now have. All paths lead to your truth. Every little thing that you do is like a little stepping stone that leads you closer and closer to that truth. So if you sit around waiting for that one thing you're supposed to do, or your absolute purpose to hit you, oftentimes it doesn't. It's something that you discover in faith and kind of in the darkness. It's something that you discover through experience, through trial and error. You have to allow yourself to fail. I've had a couple different businesses I shut down. One, for instance, was I taught swim lessons to infants. I spent 13 years doing that. I got really good at it. I could teach 6-month-old babies how to swim by themselves in a pool. You just drop them in, they could flip over, float on their back, swim around, happy. It was a friggin' miracle. I got so good at that. That was my thing. I had all these clients. I went to people's houses. That business was taking off. I was doing really well with it. I could have done that for another 20 years if I wanted to. But then I just realized this isn't what I want. My heart isn't in this anymore. I want to do something else. And so then I had to leave that behind, start all over again from the bottom, work my way up. And that's just life. Sometimes you get really far with something, or you might have gone to school for something, got into the industry, and then realized this isn't me. I've talked to people who are doctors, lawyers, nurses, you name it. People who are very high up in their industry, people who have multiple degrees, who realized after years of that work that it was good for them and it was part of their path and they enjoyed it, but now they want to do something else, like underwater basket weaving. So how do they do that? I've worked with people in personal coaching on coming up with an exit strategy, being able to leave that type of lifestyle behind and do something that's different and that's more suitable for them. So that's something you have to realize, is that you're gonna grow, you're gonna change, your mind could change, and that's uncertainty. That's just gonna be part of life. So don't worry if you go all in for something and then a couple years later you realize it's not for you. Don't worry if you end up going to school and get a degree and then you realize you don't want to use it anymore. I went to school for a couple years and now, I mean, I'm using some of that experience, but literally has nothing to do with what I'm doing. I'm doing tarot. Like, you know, I don't think I need to learn about like geometry for that necessarily. Well, sacred geometry. I don't think I need algebra to do tarot or chemistry. I don't know. So that's just kind of how it is sometimes. So I don't want any of you guys to think that you've wasted your time, that you're a late bloomer, that you have to know now. That's a strong energy of resistance. And when you attack your purpose like that with an energy of resistance, I have to know now, I have to pick one thing. And I'm waiting for it. That holds you back from going out and creating opportunities, from going out and like letting yourself explore. Have you ever like met somebody who's just super go with the flow and it just seems like everything was handed to them and everything fell in their lap and like everything's easy for them and they like somehow just found a really cool job and a really cool purpose and you're just like, what the F? Well, those people are people that followed their heart or just like followed the path of their inner child and just did what was fun and like just didn't really care. They worked hard. You probably didn't see what they're doing behind the scenes, but there is something about just giving up on trying to find your purpose, giving up on trying to pick a specific path and just going out in the world and having fun and allowing yourself to enjoy and just trying things and networking and seeing where the world takes you. So it's kind of a balance. I think it's important to have a plan, to set goals, to set intentions, but I also think it's important to be open, to try, to realize that there are infinite opportunities. There are so many different ways that you could live your life. Some of you guys here are really feeling like there's limitations because you're like, how do I get the money to pursue what I love? Like, how do I keep the lights on and the roof over my head and the food on my table while I like have fun? It's easy to be like, just have fun and pursue your life, but I'm exhausted, I'm working 40 hours a week, I have children, or I have living in this situation and like I'm stressed out and I only have this much time off work. I know what that's like. You know, sometimes we are either through our choices or through just the way our path goes, we are in a situation that just feels almost impossible. That feels like we're really stuck. But I like to see those situations as a challenge. You get handed these cards in life and it's up to you to figure out how you're gonna play them. So what you gotta do is you gotta pull up your self-respect. You've gotta realize what aspects of your life are not serving you. You've gotta realize like the real hard truth about your situation and where you are. For me, that was realizing like the swim job. I'm exhausted, I'm sunburnt, I'm in pain, I'm getting older, I can't do this, all the time. In the winter, there's not as many people signing up. I always end up having a rough winter and making less income. I don't think I can imagine myself doing this when I'm 50. I know that I have more dreams than this, but I'm like, how do I do this? Because I barely have any energy when I get home to feed myself and clean my room. Everything's a mess. So it starts with, and that's the hesitancy. The hesitation is like all the things that are holding us back, feeling like we're stuck. The subconscious limiting beliefs we tell ourselves. Like me, I was like, I didn't go to college. I have learning disabilities. I can't because of this. I can't because of that. I can't because of this. I can't because I'm depressed. I can't because, the most amazing thing that I've learned like through my journey so far, not like I'm a perfect person with all the answers or anything. I'm just using myself as an example because it's what I got. It's what I got, you guys. And when I look at these Wildwood cards, I see my life. I see the things I've been through. Like it's been with me through everything. That cloud is what holds us back from our inner strength, from being able to respect ourselves as a being of divinity, as an infinite being that can do anything, that can make anything happen. Like, how amazing is it that we have the power to manifest? We can create whatever we want to create in this life. We can think a thought, we can think an idea, and we can take action on it, and we can create it. Whether it's just creating the bowl of cereal you ate this morning for breakfast. Like that starts with a thought, I'm hungry. Next is an action, you go get the cereal and you get the bowl and you pour it in there and you eat it. And you're like that's a miracle. It's a miracle what we can do if you really, really think about it deeply. You really can think anything, you really can create anything. So for you, it's about using your creativity to come up with some ideas, to make some type of vision board, to get clear on what it is that you want, to allow yourself to trial and error, lots of different options, to allow yourself to have the time to play, to have fun, to experiment. Nights and weekends when you're not at work, or 5 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day. That's all I had back then. All I had, like what I started to do was I just set my alarm for an hour earlier, dragged my sleepy, depressed butt out of bed, got my little tablet and started making a vision board. I started listening to music and going on a walk instead of just waking up 15 minutes before work, throwing my hair in a ponytail and like running to work. I started stealing moments back from my life. You know, I started taking moments back from my life. And I allowed myself to dream again for the first time since I had been younger. You know, when you're like a child and like a teenager, you dream, and then you become an adult and like the seriousness of the world and the struggle and the survival hits you, and you just don't dream anymore. You start thinking like, oh, I'm a middle class person, or I'm a poor person. You start all the hierarchy and everything just gets to you, and you're like, this is what I'm made for. This is only what I'm good for. And you don't realize that there's so many possibilities, especially when you're a creative person. So this is a message to you overall, that you're being called to a new path. You're being called to a new dream. And all that's left for you is just to clarify what your intention is by exploring your creativity. Maybe writing some stuff down, keeping track of like what you've been thinking, what's interesting for you, to gather the tools, the materials, and the supplies that you're gonna need to put it all together and to move towards it in faith. You take one step, the next comes to you. Whatever path you choose, the universe will bless it. This is the generosity card, which is talking about like the universe wants to give so much to you. Like, if you can think it, if you can dream it, and you can achieve it. So your final card here is a card of celebration, telling you that very soon you're gonna start seeing more signs and synchronicities that this process that you're on, this process of like discovering like your purpose or your authentic self, is gonna start coming more to fruition. You're gonna start getting like more signs, more synchronicities, or maybe meeting like-minded people who wanna help you along this path or who wanna support you along this path. That's what I think is so amazing. For me, I was alone for a while with my ideas for fashion and wanting to move out of that swim job I had. And then I ended up putting some stuff up online and like sharing my work and just sharing my thoughts, and through being transparent, being vulnerable, putting myself out there, I was connected with people who wanted to help, or people who wanted to create with me, or people who just wanted to befriend me. And so this might be part of your journey, to start documenting your process, to start documenting your journey, to let go of perfectionism and just start putting your process out there. Document, don't create. Don't wait for everything to be perfect before you start this business, or you start this creative thing, or before you start this new path. Just put it out there. I don't think this channel would exist if everything was perfect. I've been learning a lot as I've gone along. This channel started with a shaky camera, no tripod, a blanket on the ground, and a card deck, and just me and my scattered mind. So I know that you guys can do it. This is basically a message trying to kick your butt to tell you like you can do it. Like, you've been hesitating a lot, but this time is different. you might have thought about this and thought about this path, but like there's something different about this time. Like it's coming up in your mind for a reason. And I really do believe like you're going through a big transformation and you're finally gonna feel like you can take some action towards this. So I'm super excited for you. I hope that this message resonates with you. Thank you for coming to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Peace out. So for those of you guys who choose number 3, let's go ahead and get your message from my Wildwood deck. So let's get your cards. There's a heavy energy around this one. Okay, so there's a couple things I'm seeing here. One message is gonna be for those of you guys who are really struggling because of this whole COVID-19 thing and this like lockdown, and maybe worried about your job or career or finances or just your health or health of a loved one. So we're seeing this energy. I actually love this card because it's called the Guardian. It's like a protector spirit, but it's also like a harsh awakening. Sometimes when I see this card, it's just a message of like emptiness or feeling like you've reached your limit or hitting rock bottom. But there's like a loving energy surrounding this card. Some of you guys, your foundation in life is really being threatened. Your sense of safety, your sense of security, and it's scary. It's gonna put you into your body in shock. It's gonna put you in survival mode. So there's a message to have endurance. This is gonna be over soon. Just a little bit longer is your message, having endurance. And you will have to, like, this is a learning process because this is like the teacher, the master, and the student. You're gonna have to really think about what you wanna aim and what you wanna dedicate your energy to after you get out of this situation. Like once the lockdown's over, once you can go back to work or whatever. It's just saying like, you know what you need to do. It's just the hard thing right now is you can't do it. You're just stuck waiting. But trust yourself that when you are actually able to, you will move forward. You will make the right choice. You will be able to turn your situation around. And you might even end up in an even better situation than you thought before. Sometimes disaster strikes in your life and it takes everything from you and you end up with nothing and you're like, what the heck? But then when you're free from all of that, you can reposition yourself to achieve even more in your life. If you've been on my channel a lot, you know this story. It's a story of when once my husband got in a car accident. We lost our apartment because of it, because like he was a driver and that was like our main source of income. And like we had rent due. We were living paycheck to paycheck because we were living in Los Angeles and it was expensive. And the same week my bird died. And so it was just like this week of death, week of craziness. We had to move back to the suburbs, but because of that, and we got new jobs and stuff, everything realigned, and after a few months, we were in an even better position than we were before in Los Angeles, and because of that, we were able to work towards our dream of saving up to travel the world, which I'm still doing a couple years later. So it's just kind of nuts that everything can be taken from you, but in a weird way, you can be repositioned to do like a bigger dream or to manifest something you've always wanted to manifest. Before, when I was in Los Angeles, it was almost impossible to save money just with my situation. I'm sure I would have figured out a way, but this whole happy accident thing that happened, which is what I call it, repositioned everything. Yes, there was pain, there was loss, there was suffering. It was scary, it was intense, and my whole body and mind and spirit and soul went through like this intense healing and trauma thing. But man, it's so weird how it worked out. So you can make anything work for you. Any situation, you can transmute that energy and you can make it work for you. So the message here is like, trust yourself that you're gonna turn this into something good. everything is always working out for me. That's your mantra. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Okay? You don't really need to believe that right now. If you need to freak out and suffer and just have your difficult time and just like grieve this, grieve it. When my bird died and all that stuff happened, of course, I wasn't just going, everything's always working out for me. Yay! I was freaking out. But, you know, this is where I was. This card is always a tough one when you see it because it's just, you don't really need to explain it. It's just a really crappy situation and you're just like, help me. That's like what these people are like. They've got no food in their bowls, their hives, maybe this is the main source of their income. It's like a bunch of honey, like the hives are all broken, the bees are gone. In the background, their crops are on fire. The land is barren. Even their freaking rake is broken. So it's like there's nothing they can do and they're all raggedy and they're just screwed. And it's like, how did they get in this situation? Like, how did this happen? Like, it really seems like the universe or God is against them. It's like a Job type of situation going on here. And so these people they're just sitting there freaking out. But the message for you is you're not going to be stuck there for much longer. You're going to figure this out. You have support from loved ones, or like support will come. You will feel more empowered as you move through this. Once you get on the other side of this, you're going to be like, there's nothing the universe can send my way that I can't handle. I mean, you go through enough crap in your life, you go through enough situations like this, and you get out of it and you make your way out of it, eventually you don't have fear anymore. You're just like, bring it on, universe, let's do this. You know, it's interesting. And then you don't really see that kind of energy around you as much. It's amazing how you can transform these situations. So your final message to you is kind of like a don't worry message. Everything's going to turn out okay. This is a beautiful card of relaxation. You see the pine tree in the back, the symbol of strength. You see all of these animals coming around and drinking from this water. It's like a source of abundance. It's harmony. I don't know what this is. This is like a little ladle or like a banana. I don't know. If any of you guys want to write below what you think this is and what you think the message about this thing could be, I would really appreciate it, because I always look at this card and it's the one symbol I'm like, I don't know what the heck that is. Maybe it's like a little ladle that like you can drink from as well. It's just like, come join us in our beautiful little harmony land and drink from the water in the fountain of plenty. I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, this card is basically telling you everything's gonna work out okay and you're gonna make this work for you, and it's gonna be an interesting process. Okay? Now that might apply to everybody, but I see one more message coming out that I just have to say. It's a love message, okay? I see something about a divorce or a breakup. This has either happened and it's been on your mind. Maybe this is something that happened years ago, but it still feels fresh. Maybe it's something that happened recently, or maybe it's something that's happening right now, knowing you have to walk away from someone or step away from someone, or having already done that. And so it's a dark energy. It makes me think maybe this person was toxic, maybe they were abusive, maybe they were, maybe they just weren't what you thought. They broke your heart, they cheated on you, or they screwed you over somehow. This is a card that when you see it in a love context is usually a warning sign, okay? So once again, you're working on regaining your foundation in life after that. Because sometimes after a breakup, your whole life revolves around this person. Like your plans, like the things that you want for your future, the things you envision for yourself revolve around this person. And so it's like you have to replan your whole life. Sometimes you have to financially get back on your feet if it's like a divorce situation. Sometimes you have to figure out like, how am I going to provide for myself, or how am I going to live emotionally without this person? How am I going to just be on my own again? It's so difficult, but this is a message you're doing really well. Like this is the endurance card. Like the worst of this is almost over, and like you're shedding the heavy energy surrounding this and you're coming back to your true self. That's what I love to hear. So you're coming back to your true self, you're empowering yourself. And I also see here that you might actually help other people through this in some way. This could be happening now, or it could happen in the near future. You could have a friend or somebody close to you who comes to you and says like, hey, I've been through this too, or I'm going through a breakup, or I just left a toxic relationship and like I noticed what you went through, and like let's share our experiences, or do you have any tips for me? Or you could end up helping people from this in some way. Like you're gonna be able to take this knowledge and share it with people. And it doesn't mean that like this happened for a reason or whatever. I mean, sometimes awful things just happen. Sometimes you just end up in a crappy relationship, or you have a crappy breakup. I don't think it's your fault necessarily all of the time, especially if there's abuse or toxic energy involved. You can't always know. Sometimes toxic people love bomb you. Sometimes people change in relationships. And so it's like the silver lining is that you're going to be able to help people out of this, but I don't think that's like a purpose for you going through this. It's just nice knowing that at least you can take some of that energy and help somebody and to move forward with it. And I think this is telling you your heart is being prepared for an even higher love. This is the funeral flower, like the death flower. It's like an old relationship that's been laid to rest. Or this could be talking about a divorce or something like that. But you see this new energy and this commitment and this true love and these clouds in the distance that are parting. It's like a message. Don't give up on love. Maybe you're not ready right now for a new love, but don't give up on it, because I know what that's like, coming out of a breakup and being really jaded and just being like, F love, I'm never going there again. I'm not doing this. Like, it's just a farce. It's just a chemical reaction in the brain. It's, you know, those things we tell ourselves when we're just kind of jaded about love. This is telling you if you need to be jaded for a while, that's okay. But in the back of your mind or deep in your heart, know that love is always worth it. You will find someone that you can genuinely share yourself with, body, mind, soul, spirit, and feel safe with in the future. And it's going to be a love on a higher level. It's going to be love like you've never experienced it before. And it's out there and it exists and it's real and it's for you. Please do not give up on love. It's okay to have like worries and doubts and fears and about it. That's a normal reaction to going through a bad breakup, or maybe for being single for a very long time. But don't give up on love. It's so beautiful. It's real. And it's out there for you. So I hope that this message resonates with you. Thank you so much for coming to my channel, and I will see you next time. Peace out.